Welcome back to This Week in Jump, Part 2.
Continuing with number 14, We Never Learn, chapter 114.
It's another Christmas time. We're in June, so you know there's got to be a Christmas chapter somewhere.
Well, in Japan, this would actually be their July issue, so it's Christmas in July.
Yeah. So it
That
makes
running
sense.
joke.
Yeah, that trope. Except nowadays it's almost Halloween. Like it's June. It's almost Halloween.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, as soon as the Halloween decorations are up, oh, we can set up for Christmas.
Yeah.
Or they're already setting it up at every single store. This time we're at the Ogatas, and everybody's studying, trying to cram for the college exams.
Yeah, so
And-
everyone's a little on edge, you know. It's a much bigger deal. It's not just your normal curriculum tests.
Oh.
These matter more so than the others.
And Rizu, being as oblivious as she is in a Santa outfit.
Yeah.
It's a little low cut.
But-
Immediately gets Naruyuki's attention. And then, oh, let's all dress up like Santas then. And Naruyuki, you can be a reindeer.
Yeah, he's adorable with the onesies. Girls
I was
falling
gonna
over
say,
him.
yeah. Pretty much everybody does. And apparently Fumino had went over there before and helped out in a prior Christmas, so this isn't really that
Unheard
far-
of,
unheard
or out of character.
So they're going to study again after they've already changed into these costumes.
People are staring and it's like, okay, yeah.
And Rizu asks him to come upstairs so that way he can help with the books. And then her outfit starts getting shorter and shorter. There was this piece of string that a kid was pulling on.
Yeah, and it was unraveling in not just from the bottom, but it was creating
All over
holes
the place.
and yeah, it doesn't
There's
make
not-
sense. The physics would baffle Ogata.
That
like,
is-
how is this physically possible?
That is what is on screen right now. And of course she flusters and is like, oh no. But we learn that those costumes were apparently from her grandmother.
And she obviously loved her grandmother so much. She made clothes, she made board games, she made card games.
Her grandmother made custom board games
Yeah,
for her.
that's creative.
And surprise, surprise, she hasn't really shown anybody else because she's kind of embarrassed about it.
Yeah, it's like, why would you be embarrassed? This is cool.
Well, I have to really trust you. So she's revealing a more sensitive side to herself, and that she trusts Naruyuki and Fumino.
Yeah, and those things are really cool and unique, even if they're slightly plagiarizing other card games, other board games. It's still really neat. I had a substitute teacher who brought in her family's Monopoly set that they created. It was essentially Monopoly, but it had a lot of their favorite places. It had places that they kind of hated as being like weaker stuff, and all of their chants and community chests were all kind of inside jokes, and some of them were just jokes to give you money.
See,
And it was very unique, very, as a kid, it was pretty cool. It's like, oh, you guys did this? Like, even though you're taking kind of like a template, you're making it your own. You're making
it's
yourself,
customized.
like, more fun.
It means more that way.
Yeah.
So Naruyuki repaired it, and it actually looks like it's brand new. And she actually teases him and is just like, I brought you up here just for me. And he's like, don't do that.
Like, just kidding, here's all the books. We're like, ah. Meanwhile, everyone else, instead of studying,
Is outside marketing for the Ogatas.
yeah. Ah. We never learn.
What?
That's the name of the series. These girls
Never learn.
never learn.
Well, I
Oh.
mean, they've been doing better and better on their test scores. The tutoring aspect of it was all just a ploy.
Yeah.
It was like the first couple chapters, and then they're like, huh, we can really hit our stride here if we tweak up the formula a little bit. Just like Dr. Stone did originally, our main character wasn't always Senku.
Yeah. It was big
Taiju.
boy muscles.
hmm But Senku was a much more interesting character, so we shifted perspective over to him. You gotta know what your strong suit is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the
It's
editor
pretty
or the
good.
author figured it out, and I was like, huh, let's switch gears a little bit.
And
It worked.
Dr. Stone anime. It's
Coming soon.
almost here. They currently have a small little trailer.
Preview. I've seen the preview.
Yeah. It's
Still looks
neat,
good.
and they're definitely focusing on shots with Senku.
That's who the main character is
Yeah,
at this point.
that's
It's
what I'm
like
saying.
he stole the spotlight. But, sorry, Sekijo, the friend who's obsessed with Ogata, shows up again, and she actually has a custom Santa outfit that has buttons that say Rizu going down and a little Rizu belt
I
with
did
her
not
face on it.
notice that. You're a creep.
So all the girls are happy and everything, and Naruyuki's kind of just like watching them, not in a weird way. And they're closing up shop for the night, and she's like, "Why is everybody so nice to me?" And it's like, "Cause well, they like you."
Yeah.
But she's having some doubt as to like, why does everybody like me? I don't like myself.
Yeah. But like, huh. So next chapter is probably going to be everyone's showing her even more affection, and maybe seeing her side of why she doesn't like herself.
Mm-hmm.
And most likely, I'm guessing now, they're all going to try to refute that. Like, oh, I'm not this. Like,
Yes,
bam,
you
here's proof that you are. Like, well, I'm not this. Bam, here's from another girl. Here's proof that you are.
It was
It's
the
just
whole.
gonna keep going.
It was the wholesomeness and the "I don't like myself" comment is why I put this so high. I was like, wow, that is I did not expect her to say that. Next is number 13, Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 62. I love that drawing.
Yeah.
The cover page is on the screen. That's what we're referring to, and it's great. And we have the fight resuming right where it left off. Eso is in tears over his brother dying, and that's why Itadori.
It's still in the battle stance.
Yeah, he's ready to go, but he's not finishing him off. Yeah. But the body didn't disappear for what's his name? Ketsuzuzi.
Kichizu. Yeah.
Kichizu's body is still there.
Yeah.
Which means that they're not curses, technically.
Yeah, they're people.
They're flesh.
Similar to when Itadori was at the school and had to beat up all the people that were kind of malformed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
They didn't go away. Those were still bodies of real people, just manipulated in their form. So they feel kind of bad for that. It's like, this is a person. Like, oh, what did we do? This is considered murder. In this case.
But they don't have any time to dwell on it because they're instantly interrupted by a car because they've been fighting on a road this whole time.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if I was like, nobody goes by here, huh?
Yeah. Bam, there's someone.
And this is Esso's way of getting away from the fight.
Like, if you press the brakes, you're dead. Like, not if you understand. And that guy, he knows the position he's in.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, I'm going to keep driving as fast as I can. And then Kikisaki actually does her straw doll technique with the arm that was severed. And the resonance works, and it goes through his heart.
Yeah, like a phantom pain, but way worse.
And it's at this time that he falls off the back of the truck, and he knows he's going to die. Itadori apologizes and just goes right through him.
Yeah, and he knows. Like, he's saying, oh, like, damn, that hurt. But that's not physical pain. That's, I just killed someone. I just ended someone's life. Mm-hmm. That's what hurt. That feeling, not many people can say, yeah, I used my bare hands.
I killed a man with my hands.
Yeah, you can kill a man with these hands. And we flop on over to enemy side with Gyo. What is?
It's
the leader.
Geto.
Geto
and Mahito. Mm-hmm. And we also finally get a name for the elder brother. It's Choso, who finds out that his brothers are dead. I guess since they all
linked together.
Mm-hmm. And they're playing a game of life, or like a twisted version of it.
Yeah, they seem to have a familiar kind of companionship between them. But I don't know.
Well, they figured that they couldn't have been killed by just anybody, any curse that had one of Sukuna's fingers. It had to be something else.
Yeah.
and
they came
Ghetto
across.
checks it. But how his eyes get like large and like that, the face he's making when he's like, it was actually the Jujutsu High School first years, Itadori and his classmate,
Yeah.
and Mahito's giant grin, because he already knew. I feel like he knew all of this was gonna happen. So I'm guessing Choso's gonna go and try and fight them, or just to get revenge.
For revenge. Revenge is an easy option for villains to go towards.
Well, Mahito doesn't care. He just likes manipulating the situation.
Yeah. But Chozo, who knows?
Well, he doesn't look very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, he just lost his two siblings.
He squished the car.
He switched the car in the game. It's like, don't break the pieces. It's so odd to see villains act that way.
Yeah. But again, we need to see how they interact with each other. The last time we saw villains, you know where they were? They were at the beach, just chilling.
Like, it seems like they don't do a lot of scheming. They just kind of do whatever.
Or they already have stuff set in motion where they don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, they're just kind of hanging out.
Look at how successful the infiltration and
yeah,
getting
how
the
they actually
wombs
got
was.
all of. Yeah, I was gonna say how they got the wombs.
And how many jujitsu sorcerers that they were able to kill. Like, that was a complete win.
Yeah.
And honestly, the school should be ashamed of that.
That large grin, though.
Yeah.
Next is a newcomer to the list, but I think it will be ending fairly soon because of the arc that it's in. Is Hinamaru Sumo at number 12.
And
Chapter 244.
this is terrifying because I just barely started reading this, and you told me there's already time skips, and I'm maybe on chapter 40, and we're doing what chapter?
244.
I'm 200 chapters behind on this one. There's not enough hours in the day to read up on everything.
For Sumo, I would say I was reading about a volume every like hour and a half. If I took the time to give the characters voices, which is usually what I do when I'm reading. I never watched the anime. I'm trying to think of when the time skip happened, but it happened around 170 or 190 in that range.
Right,
That's where the time skip happened.
I'm on chapter 22.
Oh,
not
you're
on 40.
40?
I like it. I can say that. But show me. Tell me what's going on.
Okay, so I'll kind of go back and forth between where you're at, more or less. So you're in the amateur arc where it's all in high school.
Yes. So I can give actually this little synopsis of what kind of series it is when it started. So there's a small little sumo wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
He looks, just very small guy. Can't be big enough for sumo. Bam! He's been training his body. He's stout, but he's nothing but muscle. He is awesome. And he has great techniques. He's able, because he's so small, he's able to move a little bit faster and able to knock people off their balance a little bit more and use their weight to his advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So in high school, he's getting a team together. He's getting some friends. He's revitalizing the
sumo club that was
the sumo
almost
club
closed.
And the surrounding schools to really put their
Up
best
their
foot
game.
forward.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Every kind of fight is unique. It's not just, oh, I push you, that's it. There's much more to that.
So in Japan, there is no weight class for sumo. The only rule is you have to be over a certain height. The only way around that rule, at least in this universe, I don't know if it's 100% legit. I haven't checked Japanese law for sumo or rules, but the only other way to get in is to go from high school to pro by winning the nationals. Now, there's two ways to win nationals. There's the team competition or there's the individuals. Oh, you're
Yeah,
researching?
I'm looking this up while you're doing it.
So, obviously, Hinamaru was able to make it into the Nationals because this is professional sumo, and the fight we have going on in this chapter is a continuation from the previous one, where we have the Yokozuna going against Kusanagi. And I don't think Kusanagi's been introduced yet in yours,
Absolutely
where you're
not.
at. But if he was, he would be wearing a I don't know. It was like a blue. What is it called? A jumper?
Tracksuit, jumpsuit.
There you go, tracksuit.
Okay.
Blue tracksuit, and he has a really long ponytail, like almost as long as my actual hair.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty long.
So if you know that character, that's how long my hair is. Spoilers. And Kusanagi is getting overwhelmed by the Yokozuna. He just has complete advantage and control in this match, but he can't let this get to him because everybody else is relying on him. Hinamaru was even saying, "Hey, go out there and win." All of the other from the national treasures. That's what Hinamaru is. He's considered a national treasure, the national treasure generation. Is what a lot of them are, and Kusanagi was one of the national treasures. But Yokozuna is actually even better than Yamato Kuni was at his peak, and Yamato Kuni is Kusanagi's father. So he has a lot of pride and a lot of tied up in this fight because he hasn't won any of the other bouts that he's gone against Jino in at this point.
This character has been introduced. I do recognize his face now, and the tracksuit is reminiscent in the back of my memory.
Yeah, I was like, how can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, he's introduced as like this perfect because he doesn't, and that early on in the series, he doesn't wrestle. Hinamaru was able to get him interested into doing the sumo wrestling, like actually competing, because everybody at the high school level was seen to be too weak for him because he actually hurt his opponents in middle school.
Yeah.
God, that's a lot of exposition. I am sorry. Back to my opinions of I love the double page spreads that are done in this series. I had to actually go in and touch these up because on the site they weren't touched together, so I actually smashed them up together to read them more properly. And Jino is able to reverse the situation. He's almost beat him. Jino turns him sideways and just slams him into the ground, which means Kusanagi loses. And this is a tournament that's been going on for 15 days. And every day there is a new sumo match, and the records are Hinamaru with 13 wins, 2 losses. Jino was 13 wins, 1 loss. Kusanagi, he has, I think, like 6 and 8. I don't know if they had it at the beginning of this one. No, because that was on the first chapter with it when this sumo match started. Anyway, it's irrelevant. So Kusanagi had more losses. He wasn't going to be in the finals anyway. He just needed to stop Jino from getting 14 wins, 1 loss. That way, there would be a championship playoff, basically a playoff. They have a different term for it, not a playoff. Oh no, I was right, playoff. I didn't want it to sound like baseball.
Yeah.
And they're like, crap, he won, therefore it's over. But then another character that's been reoccurring for quite a while, we have an objection to the call that Jino won by Dojikiri. That's his national treasure name. And it's using the Mono 2 objection to overrule what the judge ruled. And he's like, did anybody notice it? I bet the Yokozuna noticed it. His pinky toe, when he was circling around, touched the outside sand, which is still considered a loss.
Yeah.
So Jino ends up losing that round to Kusanagi. So it becomes 13-2, and now the stage is set for a playoff to happen. And you have not just Hinamaru, you have other people in there as well. You have 4 people competing in the playoff, and each of them has two representatives from each of the stables, and you can't face the other person in your stable unless there is a playoff. So there was no time at any point that Hinamaru was going to go in a legitimate game match against Sinoyama, who was actually able to beat Jino earlier. So we'll see what happens with these pairings. Jino also is going against somebody in his own stable who also has a very good record and actually beat him in an unofficial match.
And stables, for people that don't know, they're kind of like your division, kind of like focusing on your area, your locale.
It's a place where they go and they stay and then they practice like constantly. And like the higher ranked you are in your region, or in your region, and then in your stable, and then there's also like the rankings for just being professional national rankings for the sumo wrestlers. So the higher you get your own private room. Like there's ones that just like literally hang out. It's almost like a dormitory where they all hang out and they all sleep in like this one big room.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I like that. From what I'm reading right now to what's going on right now, the artwork is grabbing you. Everything looks good. Everything looks powerful. When I saw the slam, I was just...
You feel the weight.
Yeah, you feel the weight of the characters.
Also, during all of this,
great.
Jino is incredibly irritated because I didn't preface this much. There's a whole lot to preface because this is the culmination of a whole lot of things leading up to this. So that's why I'm glad that it finally got massively translated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because Jino's irritated at his own weakness because he said that before this tournament started, I will retire undefeated from the Yokozuna because nobody in Japan can challenge me because he's actually a foreign Yokozuna. All of you are weak. You will never match up to me. So everybody had that fire under them to try and prevent him from doing that. That's why Kusanagi has so much writing on this to be the one to stop him from retiring flawlessly. And it wound up working out just a little bit.
Yeah.
All in all, I thought that was a great one. But I would assume that once this tournament ends, it'll probably be the end of the series.
I hope Viz Media, it's placed on their website, it's placed on the app, because I think more people should
read it. It's great. It is really underrated as far as like the other things that get translated.
Yeah, but how many chapters does this thing have?
244.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's people need to read this.
I mean, before the Promised Neverland had a whole lot of chapters. I don't know if it was on it was on early access or whatever, like Shonen Jump Alpha, whenever they were doing like the ones where you buy it every week in digital form. But Kimetsu no Yaiba was the same thing. That hadn't really received any translations or anything for a while. Number 11, Food Wars, chapter 314. Now we're talking about Food Wars. And it's second to last chapter.
Knowing that makes this a little scarier.
Okay.
Because there's still a lot that I'm hoping for Food Wars to have. At the end of the chapter, you were telling me about the grandfather's plan, the diamond generation that
right.
he's been trying to set up. Like, okay, well, diamond generation, like, okay, Yukihara, the Aldini brothers, Megumi, and Arena, and a lot of others. Like, he
set up everything.
Like, I do not like that. I do not like that.
You wish it was organic, that like everybody got there
of their own volition, of their own strengths. I wish it was
instead of having
that.
a mastermind behind everything.
Yeah, it's just so sad to see. Like, without me, you wouldn't have even had a chance. Like, I did not like that part of this chapter because it's so many characters. It's not just like the main.
It's
main
Akira.
characters.
It's Kurohiba.
Nikumi.
Ryu Kurohiba.
Yeah.
Is one of the other ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's so many of these
it's basically
characters.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then finally the last person to be called is Jodishiro about having Soma
Yeah.
go. And this is all a plan to try and save um, Mana and Arena, because apparently there's never been two God Tongues born back to back in generations.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to wait and see what they're able to cook up.
Yeah. Soma wants to, show something that Arena and Mana will like. So he's adding another limitation to his cooking to this tournament. Needs to make something that the world's never seen before. Immediately fails that because his dish is a dish he has served Arena before, so she knows what it is.
I was gonna say it was the first dish that he ever had her try, just with a lot of twists that he said that he put in.
Yeah.
Which the next chapter after this one, because this one doesn't go into it, will probably tell us every single twist that it has in there. So it might be a longer than normal chapter. It might be like 30 pages as like a finale, or it just might be a 19 and just be done. But I do like that he calls it Eggs Benedict over rice, fit for a queen.
Yeah, like, ooh, that similar to I got a feel of like an engagement kind of like passing of the dish over with that statement made it feel kind of like an engagement kind of proposal. That's the word I'm looking for.
Oh, okay. And it looks like she already liked it, and it's getting a good reaction out of her.
Hmm.
But yeah, he makes two. He makes one for Mana and one for Arena.
Also, Arena stopped cooking. Like, she just straight up just stopped cooking.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Yukihira tells her, "Hey, stop cooking. I'm gonna make something for you."
Your food is slop.
Yeah, that line.
But very quick chapter. It was very nice. It's going back literally to the
beginning of
the couple of chapters. It looks good.
Next is number 10, The Promised Neverland, chapter 137. Where'd you put that one on your list?
Very low. Very low.
There's like 2 reasons I didn't put it low. So we have Old Man Ray, recap of Emma coming out, and she actually slaps him and makes him go back to his old version of himself.
Because
she figured it out.
Yeah, she figured it out. Let me explain. We're constantly moving through places we've seen before. It's not anything super unknown. That's why they started off in Gracie Farms.
It's using your consciousness and your unconsciousness.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Yeah, it's stuff you know, stuff you're constantly thinking about. This is the place where that doesn't happen. You've never been to a desert like this before, but you're thinking of
a large space,
being lost, seeing similar things. Remember that thing where we had to transcend time and space? Somehow Tiny Emma has figured it out.
Well, when she was apparently decreasing in age rapidly, she was able to reverse that. So that's how she was able to figure out that part of the puzzle and basically reassemble herself and stop that process from happening. And then they just have to basically close off their mind to everything. And that's how they're able to make the world disappear, and then they're in a giant cube.
Yeah, it's like a simulation.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Which means that they've been walking in there this entire time.
Ray goes on a whole spiel. Like, I tried reading all of it.
I did, and I'm like, you can't read some of it because like the text is like off on the sides, and it's not meant to be read. I'm guessing
he's trying to logically put this together because that helps him. That helps him rationalize everything. Could Carl be doing this? Like, could he be here?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's like a 4-dimensional figure behind them, which is it almost, they say it's a hole, but it looks like a tesseract.
Yeah.
Just how it's constantly moving.
And
before that's answered, we go back over to what's going on and at Norman's hideout.
The treehouse.
The treehouse of horror. And apparently everything is set to go, and they're like, "Can we use the thing?" I have no idea what Norman's saying when he's saying, "What about that thing?" When he asks Vincent, and Vincent says that it's okay. That's one of the lines that got me kind of like, what is he talking about? And then you have a giant army
of atoms,
of atom like
escapees from. They all came from Lambda, right?
Yes.
All the muscular ones.
I believe so.
Because all the other ones that they've had at the
Have
mass
been-
food ones have just been fat.
Yeah, I would assume that they're all from there, and they're going to march on the capital now. Which
Zazie, Barbara. Don't see Cicero there.
No, he was training people.
Oh yeah, but he's with Barbara. But in the last shot, we don't see him there.
No.
Norman's riding on his horse, and we see him wearing what he was when he's becoming a god or a devil on that split shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's in that garb, so like I got
chills.
I got chills when I saw that.
That was cool. The 4D, like them actually figuring out that it was just basically a projection of their mind, of their unconscious. That was cool. Actually seeing the solution to that is cool. I'm like, okay, they're finally done with most of the maze part. Now they're going to go through a hole, and I'm assuming that'll lead them directly to the entity, which will, I hope, get a name that we can pronounce.
Yeah, because the random characters they're
cool,
neat, and we know who you're referencing. Give him a name. Someone give him a name. Obviously, these people, Emma, Ray, and
they can say it.
They can say it. So just give that English letters.
It could be Japanese letters. Have somebody say it, and then somebody will translate it into the different languages.
Please let it be Carl. Let me be right for like so many weeks ago. I'll be so ecstatic. Please, just let him. Carl.
So we have the war beginning, them possibly going to Coral. That's why I put it that high.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, it's kind of it's not very visually stimulating as a chapter. I thought the layout of that box, the fact that it's black like that, it made me think of the holodeck from Star Trek.
I get it.
So you got me. Number 9 is Yui Kamio. Let's Loose.
Alrighty.
Chapter 13. I know you gotta be a little bit surprised that that's that high.
Yeah, I am. I'm happy.
How high was it on yours? Fairly high?
It was about
right here?
It was about the same.
We actually have a conversation inside their head between Yui in black and Yui in white. Just sipping tea.
Yeah. You know, you sometimes have conversations within yourself trying to rationalize things. You have, for a lot of people, like the angel and the devil on your shoulder, like, you should do this, like, no, maybe you shouldn't. Both kind of egging you on in one way or another. That is literally what these characters are saying. They're trying to rationalize themselves without being just combative against each other. They have created a synergy between them. Like, oh, you're really mad at him. Do you want me to kill him? Like, no. Shouldn't do that, but he needs to be taught essentially a lesson.
But there is no intermediary in here, which makes it kind of odd.
Yeah, they are
there's
one and the same.
Yeah, I was going to say, because sometimes you have like let's say you have the angel and the devil example. The person in the middle is you, and then you have the angel and the devil on your sides. This is like just angel and devil. There is no intermediary. Yeah. They are just having that direct dialogue. And so that's when Yui and White decided to pull out the chain.
And she knew of her.
Yes, she knew that she existed at this point. And that was like the first conversation that they had. And Yui and Black told her not to even worry about thinking, who is the real Yui?
Yeah. Kito immediately thinks, oh, while they were doing salacious things, that he pulled it off. To see her kind of wild hair, like, no, she took it off. It's like Ebi and Kito are confused as to why that's happening.
And Yui and Black wastes no time chaining up the president, which he still hasn't gotten a name right. I just been calling him president. I kept like going over the lines. I did not see him getting a physical
I can't
name.
remember, but we'll have it here. I believe he finally gets it.
His sister is trying to help him and not get beat up by Yui and Black by intervening, and actually pulls out like a sorcerer hand, and they make a Doctor Strange, like a Doctor Strange joke.
Mm-hmm.
But she's gonna do what she wants to do. She's gonna beat the crap out of him and teach him a lesson.
Yeah,
and
this is the way
he keeps
Yui and
making
Black
the situation worse.
does things.
He makes the situation worse. He doesn't know to shut up. He just keeps saying things that are just gonna make her mad and make eventually Kito get frustrated enough to do something. And he's like, I'm gonna call the police on you. I'm gonna call the security on you. I've already called them.
Like you'll be kicked out of the school. You'll be expelled.
Mm-hmm.
It's like good luck ever trying to go anywhere else without this stigma behind you.
And then Kito with the punch
Yeah.
takes him out.
Yeah. It's like you think
you're noble? You
Yeah.
think you're cool? You think you did everything right?
Yeah.
You're awful. I'll get you. He's so fixated on getting them expelled. How much he's better than them. He's just an awful person.
And
So
because Kito's kind of affluent, it's like, yeah, most of these things I can probably pay people off so that we can stay in this school. So that's why he keeps on punching him. He knows he can most likely
get his way out of the situation.
Yeah.
But he was just calling his mom.
Yeah.
And they also revealed that he didn't have anybody else in his phone contacts other than his mom. And he only had people in his phone he deemed as noble. Yeah. So he didn't even deem his sister as noble or anybody else but his mom.
Probably didn't have Yui's number in there.
Probably not.
Yeah. It's so funny. But it's also, Kito did not allow Yui and Black to punch him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he took over and she left it at that.
Oh. Well, Yui and Black just restrained him and was going to punch him. She threw him to the wall.
Yeah.
But no punchies. Yeah. And she teases him and tells him why Yui and White did that. It's because, well, Kito could be very manly, and I was upset that he was basically making fun of Kito.
Yeah, and he stands up for everyone else, so I should stand up for him. Like, he is noble. Yeah. Like, oh, are you happy that
a cute girl praised you?
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll praise you too. Like, it's so cute. Like, both sides of Yui, the entity Yui, black or white, praises him and has a good relationship with him.
Abby is actually rightfully concerned. How much does Yui know?
Yeah, how much has she been information withholding from her, from Yui and Black to Yui and White, how their relationship actually is.
Yeah, their conversation that they had, Kito manning up and punching him.
There was a lot of cool stuff.
There was a lot of payoff there, and a lot of intrigue as set up for like, okay, what's going to happen going down the line. That's why I liked it.
I like this chapter so much more than the quiz show with maybe a villain. This being the essentially villain, the president, I loved it so much more.
Because they're redeemable. Like, the girls were just fangirling. They didn't, like, really... They weren't bad?
No, they were just needy.
Yeah, they weren't...
Yeah, this
guy's irredeemable. He's your awful person. Acts like he's better than everybody else, but he's no better than...
And trying to be, noble.
Yeah.
But it's really a piece of trash.
Agreed. Next is number 8, Dr. Stone, chapter 108. That did not happen intentionally.
What?
Number 8, 108.
Oh, okay.
Nice color cover. We see the events that happened
on the Perseus.
After they noticed the person was there. It was Kirasame the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody starts analyzing what she's doing when they see that she throws something in the air, and they, like, it's a grenade of some kind, Ukyo actually shoots it off to try and divert it a bit. And we already saw this where
The basilisk's eye
it's still cool.
appears.
Ryusui,
Please name it that.
I don't think it has a name yet.
Some kind of idea, or some kind of grenade. But the giant Medusa eye, basilisk eye that just appears and within a radius causes people to turn to stone is thrown out, and this is when Ryusei kicks Suika.
Ryusui. There we go. Yeah, Ryusui.
Yeah.
Sui. That's Ryusui.
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 Ryusui. Anyways,
he kicks
this guy.
Suika out. We saw that before, but we see that she actually landed a pretty good distance away.
Yeah.
And he's told by her to make sure he tells Senku and everybody what happened. And we also now see it from another perspective. Ginro.
Yeah.
Who was
still underneath.
And he just keeps swimming down farther and farther. Because everybody, he knows, he can see that everybody, the ship is entirely engulfed.
You can see this from underwater. That's the other thing. It's not dispersed through water at all. It doesn't stop it. It continues going, and you can still see it coming. It's that massive of an entity that it is. And he refers to it as a light, like a beam, like everyone else has been saying.
But just because of Ukyo, he was actually able to be saved. If it hadn't been a little bit further, he wouldn't have been able to make it out of the blast zone.
Yeah. The next shot gave me chills. He saw his best friend, his partner, Kinro, just turned to stone in front of him. Ooh, that.
And he starts tearing up and crying and everything, but he doesn't have time to because they're already busted. And he's got to go hide in the barrel. He remembers that Suika was in the barrel before and got dumped out of it. I like how he's eating meat on a bone.
He stored some supplies for himself so that he can survive.
But they're like, oh, who's over there? Who is it that we messaged? And then they see Ginro, and this is actually the secondary image I used, was the card explanation.
Okay, I like trading cards. I like it so much where they're portraying everyone else as, their ranks and how useful they are. And we see Genro as
a common.
Yeah.
He's basically a common.
Yeah.
And they're like, and you have everybody just balled up saying, Ginro?
Like,
really?
Why him? That's probably the worst person we could possibly get. And, using the same paneling structure for multiple things. I love it. Love it. Ginro now being able to see his allies.
Mouths, can you help me? And they're like, are you kidding me? We need your help.
It's fantastic. Meanwhile, the ship is being boarded. Enemies are literally
everywhere.
right there.
But Ibara notices that the barrel had moved, and then starts to investigate it.
His eyes are fantastic. I love.
Yeah, that drawing was great.
For just making him a villain.
It also emphasizes how close he is to the barrel.
Yeah.
But they get distracted. They don't know what glass is, so they're like, yeah, the clear ice room. They heard a noise, and they just think that it's the goats. Little do they know that Suika's up there, and you can tell it's her because why is the plant sweating?
Yeah. Also, these are the goats referenced in the 100 Tales. Like, ooh, they told more people. Ooh, the Tales goats not just to Ishigami
Village.
Yeah. It spread a little bit more because this is essentially maybe the first island that they started off at, and then
they went
migrated.
to Ishigami. because the Soyuz capsule landed there on that island.
Yes.
Therefore, they had to have left that island to be on Ishigami Village. So the Hundred Tails originated there at this island where the Soyuz capsule was from.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that they would know about the Hundred Tails.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's just really cool.
And this is when we see that Suka actually hid the boat that they used to get on land. That way it'd be harder to find it, take more time. And they rank her as an SSR.
Yeah.
And she's going to be with Ginro and hopefully be able to get the lab.
It's her time to shine. It's her time to be useful, along with teaming up with Ginro. Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be hard to fight this one with the final chapter of Food Wars next week. I'm really
You're anticipating it to be that good?
I'm really hoping. I have high hopes.
I would say this one will probably be pretty high. This one will probably be in my top 5 next week, depending on what happens. Mm-hmm. It just depends on where it goes and how they handle it. But Dr. Stone hasn't made like a bad chapter. Everything has something interesting. I don't even think it.
There was one chapter I remember in my mind not being as great. The final boss being defeated, and then his second in command kind of trying to take over and having that fight. I didn't really like that. I didn't like that an enemy tried taking that away right away and then being defeated so nonchalantly. I didn't really like that. I would say that was a bad chapter. And I remember it because
of that.
Because there's so few that really lose that. But that's just my opinion.
I was gonna say criticism, natural. Number 7, Haikyuu, chapter 352. And I think you might know why I put this one this high. I'm a man of moments, and if a moment is so good, I can't help but think that it's amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta put it on that list, and it just takes it to that next level where I'm just like,
yeah. There's some series that can line stuff up, put the pieces in order, and then it just falls flat. Haikyuu knows how to rally you up, how to make things seem unfeasible, but then just are able to rally you into being excited off of just reading.
Hiragami is still playing the mental game against Asahi and making him try and break, because Asahi still feels like everything is his fault. They eventually call a timeout and tell him, hey, you need to chill, you need to just stop doing what you're doing. And I thought that was great that they actually just had to have this time where it's like, look, the fate of the world isn't on your shoulders, relax.
Yeah, this is our team. You're falling back into how you used to be before you quit. It's like you're putting everything on here. You're not talking about this. You're trying to do literally everything by yourself. This is one of the reasons why you left. You need to get out of that, or else you're going to slide in there again.
And then we have a really, really long rally. They set him up. He's like, this is my chance. This is fresh off of the timeout. He's refocused. They block him again.
Yeah.
But Nishinoya,
the libero,
out of nowhere, this shot is on the screen because it's just like the best image. You just cut between the reaction from the page before to this double page of Nishinoya just coming out of nowhere and hitting it and said, look, we got your back.
Yeah. We know this is more likely to happen. We can ready ourselves to protect anything that happens like this.
Any shortcoming. And the other team's like, wow, these are really cool. And he just gives them a thumbs up.
Yeah, and they're able to get that point because they set him up for a quick. And they're not expecting that right after a block that they were supposed to win.
Earn the block point, yeah.
And Nishinoya just walks off, kind of like whistling a little tune, like, "Yep, time to do this again."
I was honestly like, wow. was like, that was great. I did not expect him to come in there right then.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I was like, wow. I'm still like still looking at that image. I'm just like, dang, that is it was done so well.
And also the time frame between him aiming where he's going to hit and him turning to look at the ball. It gives you a frame of reference of how much time has passed. Maybe a second. Maybe.
Like,
yeah.
The amount of time it takes for you to turn the page is how much time has actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's great. And you actually have Suki being subbed out for Sugawara.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna take it to him. And the only person that Asahi apparently doesn't trust is himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna learn to trust himself just for today. And hopefully he will be able to succeed in the next rally that they're in.
Yeah, because right now it's 17-17.
It's even, yeah, 17-17. They have to win or that's it.
Yeah, and they're all super tired. Who knows? Who knows? Karasuno. We'll see you in the next part.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's end it there.